Letting go, finding peace. Have you ever looked around your home, your thoughts, or your relationships and quietly wondered, why am I still holding on to this? Sometimes, what we carry isn't heavy in weight but in memory, in habit, or in expectation. As the years pass, those things can begin to feel like a quiet burden pressing on your joy. Not because they're bad, but because they no longer serve the life you're living today. Maybe it's the extra room full of boxes you haven't opened in years, or a relationship you've kept going out of guilt, even though it leaves you feeling small. Maybe it's a voice in your head that still says you should be doing more, even though you've already done so much. These things don't always announce themselves loudly. They often live in our routines, in our closets, in our silence, and over time, they steal space we could be using for something lighter: peace, connection, rest. But what if letting go didn't mean losing something but making room? Imagine walking into a home that feels calm and clear, where every item around you has a reason to stay. Imagine choosing how you spend your time without pressure, surrounded only by people who make you feel seen and safe. Imagine waking up and feeling free, not because life is perfect, but because you've finally given yourself permission to live it on your own terms. So today, let's gently explore the things that no longer belong in your life after 70, not with judgment, but with kindness and courage. Because what's waiting on the other side of letting go might just be everything your heart has been quietly asking for. 1. When less becomes more. Have you ever opened a drawer or walked into a room in your home and felt an unexpected heaviness? Not from what's in your hands, but from what surrounds you. The old holiday decorations you haven't used in a decade, the third set of dishes just in case, the boxes in the attic filled with things you meant to sort through someday. They've been with you for years, even decades. And maybe, at one time, they brought you joy or held meaning. But now, they mostly gather dust and emotion. It's hard to let go of things that remind you of who you used to be, or who you once loved. That jacket in the closet still carries the scent of a different season of life. That photo album in the back of the shelf, though, rarely opened, feels like it holds your memories together. Letting go can feel like forgetting, or worse, like erasing part of yourself. So you keep the clutter, not because you need it, but because it's familiar. It's the weight of time, quietly accumulating in corners and closets. But what if that clutter is doing more than taking up space? What if it's slowly, silently making it harder to feel calm in your own home? You might find yourself walking past that packed shelf and feeling overwhelmed, or avoiding the spare room altogether. You may not even realize how much energy you spend just maintaining what no longer serves you. It's not about being messy, it's about being emotionally crowded. And that kind of clutter doesn't just stay in your home, it settles in your mind, too. Now imagine something different. Imagine opening that same drawer and finding only what you use and love. Picture walking into a room that feels light, open, and peaceful. The things around you have purpose. There's space to move, breathe, and think. You're not surrounded by who you used to be, you're embraced by who you are now. And in that space, there's room for what matters most. Maybe it's a quiet cup of coffee in the morning sun, a phone call with someone who makes you laugh, or simply a deep breath without distraction. Letting go of physical clutter doesn't mean losing your past. It means choosing to live fully in your present. It's an act of love, and not just for your environment, but for yourself. You're not discarding your story. You're honoring it by making space for the life you still want to live right here, right now. Just like clearing space in your home can bring a sense of calm, creating emotional space can be just as healing. 2. Choosing peace over pressure. Have you ever left a conversation feeling more tired than before it began it physically? But emotionally, you might find yourself replaying the words later, wondering why you always feel small around that person, or why their presence leaves a quiet heaviness in your chest. Maybe it's someone who's been in your life for years, a sibling, a friend from long ago, even an adult child. You care deeply, but the connection no longer feels kind. And yet, you stay. Not because it brings joy, but because it feels like you should. By the time you've reached your 70s, you've likely carried many relationships through all kinds of seasons. Some grow stronger with time, rooted in mutual love and respect. Others may shift slowly or suddenly into something more painful. You might find yourself always being the one to listen, to give, to keep the peace, even when it costs you your own. Maybe it's that old friend who only calls to complain, never once asking how you are, or the family member who criticizes more than they connect. These relationships often linger, not because they nurture you, but because letting go feels complicated. There's guilt, history, and the fear of what others might think. You tell yourself, I can handle it, but at what cost? Letting go of toxic relationships doesn't mean you don't care. It means you've decided to care for yourself. 2. Imagine what your days could feel like without that tension in your chest. What would it be like to spend time only with people who make you feel seen, safe, and understood? Picture laughter that feels easy, not forced. Phone calls that lift you up instead of draining you. Moments of companionship that leave you feeling more whole, not more empty. Releasing a harmful relationship by setting boundaries, or walking away is a brave act of self-respect. It doesn't require a fight. It doesn't need to be loud. Sometimes, it's as quiet as choosing not to answer a call when you don't have the energy, or gently steering a conversation in a safer direction. Sometimes it's simply giving yourself permission to invest more in the people who truly value you. This chapter of your life is too precious to spend in places where your heart doesn't feel at home. You deserve peace in your interactions. You deserve warmth, not judgment. And when you give yourself the gift of distance from what hurts, you make room for what heals. In that space, love finds its way back in genuine, soft, and exactly what you need. And once you protect your peace from draining relationships, it's time to look at the roles and burdens you've outgrown. 3. Lightening the load. Have you ever sat down after a long day and thought, why am I still doing all of this? Maybe it's not just the chores or errands, but the quiet pressure to keep up with roles you've played your whole life. You've spent decades showing up for your family, your community, your work. But now, even in retirement, the to-do list still seems to follow you. And you wonder, gently and maybe a little guiltily, is it okay to stop doing so much? Many people in their 70s find themselves still carrying responsibilities they no longer enjoy. Perhaps you're still hosting the holidays because no one else has stepped up, even though it exhausts you. Or maybe you're managing a large house with a yard that's grown into more of a burden than a joy. Sometimes it's emotional labor being the one everyone leans on. Even when your own heart feels tired, you may feel needed, yes, but also quietly overwhelmed. You might keep doing it out of love, habit, or a sense of duty. And yet, a part of you longs to slow down, to breathe. But giving yourself permission to step back is not giving up. It's not being selfish. It's recognizing that your time, energy, and peace matter, too. What if you allowed someone else to take the lead this year at Thanksgiving? What if you passed along that weekly responsibility to someone younger? Or let the garden grow wild for once? What if you simply said, I need rest today, and let that be enough? Letting go of unnecessary responsibilities doesn't mean you love people less. It means you're ready to live from a place of balance, not burnout. And in doing so, you give others a chance to grow, to contribute, to step into their own strength. You might be surprised, Imitims, when you stop doing everything. Others discover they can do more than they thought. Imagine what your days could feel like with a little more space. Mornings that start slowly, with coffee and sunlight. Afternoons spent reading or walking, not rushing or worrying. Time to say yes to the things that bring you joy and no, kindly and firmly, to what drains you. A life that feels full, not because it's packed with tasks, but because it's rich in presence and peace. This isn't about withdrawing from life, it's about stepping into it more fully, with intention. When you release the pressure to always be the one who takes care of everything, you begin to take care of yourself. And that is not only it's beautiful. As you step back from doing too much for others, you may also begin to notice the quiet weight of how you speak to yourself. 4. Releasing the voice that holds you back. Do you ever catch yourself thinking, I should have known better, or why did I do that? Even years after the moment has passed. Sometimes it's not the mistake itself that lingers, but the voice that keeps repeating it. That quiet, persistent whisper of regret. It shows up at night when the house is quiet, or in moments when something reminds you of what could have been. Maybe it's an opportunity you didn't take, a decision you wish you'd made differently, or a relationship that ended in silence. You might carry it like a soft ache in your chest, familiar, but heavy. As we age, we have more memories to reflect on and sometimes more regrets. It's easy to look back through the lens of hindsight and wonder, what if I had chosen differently? Maybe you think about a career you never pursued, or a loved one you lost touch with. Maybe you replay old conversations, wishing you'd said more or less. Over time, these thoughts can shape how you see yourself. You start to believe that your missteps define you, that you should have been stronger, wiser, kinder. And that voice, it becomes part of your inner world, sometimes louder than the kindness you'd offer anyone else. But what if you spoke to yourself the way you speak to someone you love? What if you looked at your life not as a chain of mistakes, but as a journey of learning and courage? The truth is, you made the best decisions you could with what you knew at the time. You grew, you endured, and even the moments you regret helped shape the compassion and strength you carry now. Letting go of regret doesn't mean forgetting the past, it means forgiving yourself for being human. It means choosing to tell a new story, one that honors your resilience and allows room for softness. Imagine waking up without that old judgment sitting on your shoulder. Imagine looking in the mirror and seeing not someone who should have, but someone who did their best, who kept going, who still matters not in spite of the past, but because of the wisdom it gave you. You don't have to carry those old stories into every new day. You can leave them gently where they belonged in the past, and in their place, welcome a quieter voice, one that says you are enough. You've always been enough, and you still have so much to give. In that space, peace can finally settle in. Letting go of harsh self-judgment opens the door to caring for yourself in more mindful, nurturing ways. 5. Honoring your body with gentle shifts. Do you ever find yourself reaching for a snack just because it's there, or skipping breakfast because it feels like too much trouble? Maybe it's been a while since you moved your body just for the joy of it. Or perhaps you catch yourself saying, "I'm too old to change now." These small choices don't seem like much at first, but over time, they become part of a quiet routine, a rhythm you didn't mean to create, but somehow got used to. And the truth is, even when a habit feels familiar, it doesn't always feel good. As you've grown older, your body has carried you through so much, raising children, working long days, showing up for others again and again. Maybe you used to cook healthy meals, but now find yourself leaning more on processed food for convenience. Or you used to walk every day, but after an injury or simply a shift in life space, you've slowed down and maybe stopped altogether. There's no shame in that. Life changes, and your routines change with it. But sometimes, those routines stop serving you, and you're left wondering why you feel more tired, more disconnected, more stuck. Unhealthy habits don't always look dramatic. They can show up as skipping doctor's appointments because they feel like a hassle, or watching the news late into the night, even though it leaves you feeling anxious and restless. They can even appear in quiet isolation, choosing to stay home again rather than reaching out. Not because you want to be alone, but because it's become your new normal. And while these choices may feel easier in the moment, they often lead to a sense of heaviness over time, and not just in the body, but in the heart. Now picture something different. Picture starting your morning with something small and nourishing: a bowl of warm oatmeal, a walk around the block, or a phone call with a friend. Picture yourself turning off the TV and turning on your favorite music instead. Picture your body not as something to fix, but as something to thank and care for. Every gentle change you make is a way of saying to yourself, "I matter. My well-being matters." You don't need to overhaul your life to feel better. Just one small shift repeated with kindness can open the door to more energy, more lightness, more peace. Letting go of unhealthy habits is not about discipline or guilt. It's about recognizing what's no longer helping you feel your best and choosing something softer, kinder, more aligned with who you are now. Because you deserve to feel well, not just in your body, but in your whole life. And it's never, ever too late to begin again. And sometimes, small changes in habits also invite bigger shifts, especially in what you believe about what's possible. 6. Loosening the grip of old beliefs. Have you ever heard yourself say, "I'm too old for that," or "That's just the way I've always done it"? Maybe it's not something you say out loud, but something that lives quietly in your thoughts. These beliefs often come from places that once kept us safe traditions, routines, the ways we were raised. But over time, even the most familiar ideas can start to feel like walls rather than comfort. And sometimes, the stories we've told ourselves for years no longer fit who we've become. You might believe that learning new things isn't for you anymore, that technology, for instance, is best left to the younger generation. Or perhaps there's an old message running through your mind. Asking for help means I'm weak. These ideas aren't random. They often come from decades of being self-reliant, of putting others first, of doing things a certain way because it worked or because it was expected. And while some of these beliefs have served you, others may now quietly hold you back. Take something as simple as attending a new class at the community center, or joining an online video call with your grandkids. Maybe a voice inside you says, I'm not good with computers, or what if I embarrass myself? So, you sit it out, not because you can't do it, but because an old belief convinced you that you shouldn't try. And yet, deep down, there's a part of you that wants to stay connected, engaged, growing. Even now, letting go of outdated beliefs doesn't mean turning your back on your past. It means honoring the person you've always been, while also giving yourself permission to evolve. You are not defined by what you believed 20 or 30 years ago. You're allowed to change your mind. You're allowed to try something new. And you're allowed to put your own well-being, joy, and curiosity first. Imagine waking up with the quiet confidence that you don't need to have all the answers, you just need to be open. Picture yourself saying yes to something new without fear of how it looks. Whether it's trying a dance class, joining a book club, or finally learning how to send photos on your phone. These small shifts can open doors you didn't even know were there. Not because you need to prove anything, but because you deserve to keep discovering who you are becoming. When you release beliefs that no longer match your heart, something beautiful happens. Life expands. You begin to feel lighter, more present, and more free. You begin to see possibility instead of limitation. And in that space, you get to rewrite the story not from scratch, but with wisdom, grace, and all the freedom that comes from finally, gently letting go. Once you loosen the grip of old beliefs, you may start to question the fears you've carried about money, too. 7. Trusting what you've built. Do you ever hesitate before spending on something that would bring you comfort or joy, and hear an old voice inside saying, better save it, just in case? That instinct runs deep. For many people your age, financial caution isn't just a habit, it's a survival skill shaped by decades of hard work, sacrifice, and sometimes struggle. Even now, with savings in place and a retirement plan that's steady, it can feel strangely uncomfortable to use what you've earned. You might have grown up watching your parents stretch every dollar, or raised children during times when every penny had to count. You've learned how to live with less, how to plan for the future, how to protect your loved ones. These values aren't wrong, they reflect strength and resilience. But sometimes, even when the situation has changed, the old worries stay. Maybe you feel guilty spending money on yourself, or you still think twice before treating yourself to a lunch out, a new chair, or a short trip. You might even put off repairs or upgrades around the house because part of you whispers, what if I need that money later? Those what ifs are powerful, but they can also keep you stuck in a pattern of scarcity. Even when your reality is more stable, you've done the work, you've planned wisely, and now this part of your life isn't about building, it's about living. Using your money in ways that bring you ease, connection, and joy doesn't mean you're being careless. It means you're finally reaping the reward of years spent doing the right thing. That chair that helps your back, it's not a luxury, it's support. The lunch date with your friend, that's connection. The new coat that keeps you warm on your morning walks, that's care. Imagine what it would feel like to spend money without the usual twinge of guilt. To look at your bank account not with fear, but with gratitude for all the ways it can now serve you. Picture yourself saying yes to small pleasures, a class you've always wanted to try, a weekend visit with family, a new pair of shoes that make you feel good when you walk. These aren't reckless choices, they are loving ones. Each one tells your body and heart, you matter. Your comfort matters. Your joy is worth it. Letting go of unnecessary financial worry doesn't mean ignoring reality. It means recognizing that you've arrived at a time in life where your needs are different and your resources are meant to support them. Trust what you've built. Let your money work for you now, not just sit in waiting for what if. Because the truth is, the life you've planned for is already here, and you deserve to live it with freedom, dignity, and ease. When financial fear softens, what often remains is a deeper fear of change itself. 8. Welcoming change with a steady heart. Have you ever felt a quiet resistance rise in your chest at the thought of something new, maybe a move, a new routine, or even a different way of doing something you've done the same way for decades? Change, no matter how small, can feel unsettling, and the older we get, the more comforting the familiar becomes. After all, you've built a life full of routines, rhythms, and rituals that give shape to your days. So it's completely natural to wonder, why fix what isn't broken? Or even more quietly, what if I can't handle what comes next? Sometimes, what once felt right no longer fits. Maybe the big house that once held holiday dinners and laughter now feels too quiet, too large, too much to maintain. Or the routines that once gave you purpose, early mornings, packed schedules now leave you feeling tired, not fulfilled. Maybe technology has shifted how people connect, and you find yourself avoiding the new simply because it feels unfamiliar or overwhelming. You might tell yourself, I'm set in my ways, but deep down, there's also a part of you that longs to keep growing, connecting, and experiencing new joys. The fear of change is deeply human. It often comes from wanting to feel in control, to hold on to the safety and certainty of what we know. But holding on too tightly can also keep life from surprising you in beautiful ways. When we avoid change, we sometimes close ourselves off from people, opportunities, and even joy. And yet, embracing change doesn't mean becoming someone different. It means allowing yourself to keep becoming you, just in new ways. Imagine if you welcome change with curiosity instead of fear. Downsizing might mean less stress and more time to enjoy your mornings. Instead of worrying about upkeep, learning something new, whether it's a phone app or joining a local group, could open the door to friendships you didn't know were waiting. Trying a new routine, letting go of an old tradition, or shifting a long-held belief could bring unexpected peace. You don't have to rush into big decisions. You don't have to prove anything to anyone. You just have to ask yourself gently, is this way of living still working for me? And if the answer is no, you're allowed to choose something different. You're allowed to grow, shift, and welcome newness, not because you have to, but because you can. When you stop fearing change, you make room for possibility. And in that space, life becomes softer, more open, more present. Not because it's easier, but because you've made peace with the unknown. And that kind of courage, at this stage in life, is not only powerful, it's freeing. But when you learn to welcome change with a gentle heart, you begin to open space for the peace and joy you've always deserved. Living light, living true. What if the path to peace isn't about adding more but gently letting go? Not of your memories, not of who you are, but of the weight you no longer need to carry. As you move through this chapter of life, it's natural to want clarity, space, and ease. But sometimes, that desire is blocked by habits, fears, or beliefs that once served you, but no longer reflect who you are now. Maybe you've always been the strong one, the dependable one, the one who puts others first. Maybe you've held onto routines, roles, or relationships out of love or out of fear of what might change if you let them go. And yet, deep down, you might feel tired, not weak, just ready to stop proving and start simply being. Ready to feel lighter, freer, more in tune with your own needs and pace. Letting go of clutter, toxic energy, regrets, or old expectations isn't about giving up. It's about choosing yourself with compassion. It's about honoring the life you've lived while making space for the one still unfolding. Imagine a life with fewer shoulds and more quiet mornings, fewer burdens and more belly laughs, fewer things to hold on to and more space to breathe. This isn't the end of the road. It's a beginning, a soft, steady return to what truly matters, your peace, your joy, your voice. And in choosing lightness, you don't lose anything important. You find the parts of yourself that may have been waiting all along.